Hey guys, welcome to The Creative Producer, Episode 2. My name's Dan.
Oh, I thought you were going to introduce me. My name is Raphael.
Wow, off to a great start here. No, super excited to do this second episode, guys. We got a lot of cool stuff to go into. So,
I just want to say, this is where we get into it. Episode 1, that was a teaser. That was a vibe. That we were just trying to get a vibe for it. Now we're going to get into it. Now this is where the interesting shit happens, okay?
I thought it was a great episode.
That was for the trailer, Dan. Okay, now I got hyped for the trailer. Go on.
Yeah, so before we get into the content today, I want to go into today's sponsor, which is our good friend of mine, Angelo Lagdameo, who is a designer who actually designed the Creative Producers logo. So I love the logo. Yeah, can you
here?
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice. So cool.
So nice.
So Angelo is a brand consultant and design practitioner. He focuses on business-to-business clients, corporate, small business, and personal brands. And he does the brand strategy and then does the design identity too. So logos, websites, social media content, etc. Angelo is an extremely talented designer, and I've actually had him work on numerous projects for DV internal things. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think that some designers just have it, man. And I'm the kind of person creatively, like I have an idea and I have a concept, but like I need a pro to implement it and to give me their like professional spin on things. And yeah, he just nails it out of the park. So check him out, link in the bio, but also if you want to reach out to him, his site, ANGLIVES, you can reach out to him directly there.
But yeah, it was a great experience getting that logo done. Angelo did a great job. And then, we were able to like bounce back and forth ideas on how to like finalize it. And then I tweaked it a little bit to the end to like just like finalize it. And then we showed it to him to make sure he approved and he loved it and all that. So honestly, like, definitely worth, I would love to do another design with him.
Yeah.
Because we can do design here and there, but it's always great to like get someone who specializes in like a specific thing rather than like us trying to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was a big thing too, is like, so we had an idea and a vision for what we wanted the logo to be. I had seen something in my head, but when we asked, this is the thing, guys, when you collaborate with any creator, when you ask for the project files, it's like digging into their soul and saying, "Give me your art."
Anytime Dan comes up to me, yeah, the client just asked for the raws. And I'm like, did you say no? He's like, I said no.
No, I say that. I say the client asked for the raws. I'm like, sure, take the raw media. Like if we agreed on that, that's fine. I don't care. I know a client, I know they can't edit the way we edit. I'm not worried about that. If they take our project file, that is where like you get mad. Well, you don't even react. You just like look at me and you're just like,
I just tell you in my eyes, I'm like, there's no way I'm handing this project file.
Or it's not even that. It's more like, I'll give you this project file, but it has like 36 AEP comps that you're going to have to relink.
Oh, yeah.
And,
so many After Effects links, and it's organized in a way that only I will know where anything is.
The worst. The worst.
I'm the one that edits it. Like, I feel so bad when I handed it to Dan. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to go on vacation or something. And he's like, yeah, can you just give me this project file in case we need to fix anything. And then throughout the whole flight, I just keep getting questions. Hey, where is this? Hey, how do I find this? And how is this organized?
But you don't, to be fair, you don't really organize.
I organize for me,
no,
which is technically not organizing, honestly.
We try to clean it up. Like I'm working on the What It Takes layout right now. It's a documentary series we do for one of our clients, and I've been working really hard on the organization, and I know you're just gonna like shit on it.
Oh, probably. Remember when we used to edit in Final Cut? Like I used to like when we worked together, Dan mainly edited in Final Cut, and I like forced myself to relearn it. And Dan always started like, okay, so for the start of it, organization, just get in and out points of each clip, just subclip everything, and I hate it, dude.
I don't know why that,
but it makes sense. Yeah. But the thing is, when we move to Premiere, it's not a thing to do that. That's
it is. I do it.
It's like extra few steps though. It's not like it's more straightforward.
So what I do is I create bins. So in a doc, especially when you're like on the go and you don't have like set controlled locations and everything's just kind of like on the go, I do bins, and I categorize the bins as like scene 1, 2, 3, 4 and the steps, and then I put the footage that correlates to the bin.
Yeah.
So like morning routine goes, everything morning routine goes in there. And then I subclip the morning
Yeah.
routines as like, I want this shot, this shot, this shot. And then I have all the shots I want to use. And then I just put everything from bin 1 into the timeline, trim it up, everything from bin 2.
Yeah.
That's just how I like
No,
to
no,
edit.
yeah. What was interesting was, for example, when we did B-roll shots, and there was multiple takes in one shot. That was the main thing that we I saw
Yeah.
value in. It was like pick between all those takes which one, and then make a subclip of it. That's
Yeah.
usually where it came more in handy.
To be fair though, like when I first started shooting content, I think I overshot a lot. And I'm learning lately, the last 2 years, I would say, my media has gone down dramatically. Like, because I don't shoot everything. I shoot what I want because I'm planning for the edit. So when I'm on a shoot, even if it's a documentary set where I don't know exactly what I'm going to get, I still have already pre-written a storyline to where it's like, I know that this is the idea, so I don't need to get all of this. I just need to get this.
Yeah.
So like the media, the amount of media we shoot has reduced because we know how to tell stories through the edit, but also shoot for the edit. And I think that's just an experience thing.
Yeah, and we shoot for the edit. We love editing, especially me. Like that's my favorite part of the process, and I think that's a big reason why we've gotten better at like not overshooting. And it's a big I think it's a big reason why we can get away with some of the tighter budgets we're given from different clients. We're able to make it work with a small budget, which is the main topic of today.
So low budget. A lot of times creatives are like, oh, I did it for free. And it's like, you didn't really do it for free. Like, I think I respect you for saying that. Like, I know you didn't technically spend money, but you still spent time and put a lot of effort into that. So, 200 hours of free labor, that's still time you've spent taken away from doing other things. So,
well, I mean, and that's a good point that you've made that I've learned working with you is like, even I thought like, oh yeah, I didn't spend any money on this. So like, I basically made it for free and everything is profit. Well, no, like, one of the most valuable things we have is time.
Yeah.
So you're still putting you're still putting time into it. And it doesn't cost money directly, but it has a big cost in your life.
Yeah. I mean, time essentially takes away from you getting opportunity to get paid work. So this isn't saying you shouldn't do work for free or work for passion, but it's just saying respect yourself and respect the fact that, you still have invested into things. So that is a thing of mine when people are like, oh, we did it for no budget. It's like, no, you had a budget, dude. Like you had to spend money to go to the shoot. You had to spend money to get this. You had to cost. There are expenses, and I've always been like someone who freakishly, like, even if the budget, like I remember the first music video I directed when I was in college. It was like the last couple months I was at school. The budget was $400. And and that's honestly like not like the worst budget for a music video. Like I've heard way worse, but the budget was $400 and we had really high expectant, like had a lot going on for the $400. And I still did a one sheet on how to spend the $400. And like I made so many mistakes. Like at the time we had access to like equipment and locations based on the school. So while that was an expense I didn't have to factor in, and crew as well, because most people wanted to just get experience on set. I still had to buy art direction, food, and etc. And I remember like I blew like $150 at this. Do you remember in Full Sail there was that store? It was called like Scott. It was like a store in Winter Park and you could just buy random stuff. It was like just like,
was it on campus?
No, it was like down the road, and they had just like a bunch of crap. You could buy like junk essentially and props. It was like
Really?
It's called like Sky something. I forget what it called.
It
had a flying saucer.
I was gonna say it did have a flying saucer.
Yeah.
We did. We bought like props for like 16 for like the 16 mil.
So I bought like a bunch of like. So the scene was like the video concept is about an alien getting abducted. And I'm sorry, an alien autopsy. So essentially, the alien crash landed. The band plays on the crash site, and then the concepts around a mad doctor digging into the alien's body, and the alien eventually prevails and kills the doctor. So the theme was the band playing on this crash site, which was the gas station at the back lot. So I had to like add like crap around to make it look like debris. So I bought all this debris, and I spent like almost half my budget on debris, and like none of it even like remotely looked good. And like I was buying like real expensive stuff like steel and stuff, and I was like, why did I do that? And I could have maybe had like $100 of time to spend on the hours of editing, but I don't know. So the point is like you can it's still important to understand your costs and expenses with a low budget. And then you learn, you're able to adapt it, and it's great to be creative with how you spend money. And I think when you look at a budget, it's like, first off, you should never take a project if you just legitimately can't make it work. I mean, if you shouldn't just like jump in just because you want the work. Like you should, like I said before, you need to understand the amount of expenses. But low budget to me means, hey, after expenses, like what are the bare minimums, and how are we going to strip this project down to like still profit to where it makes sense for the business to invest the time into doing it, but we're going to have to adjust certain things and remove certain light items to make it work and to make sense. So I mean, things you're going to have to do on a low budget, it's being willing to accept like downsizing and lowering and reducing the overall main goal of the video, like the creative side. So there's two different types of conceptualization. I know some people like, I know for you, like you think big, and then like I typically come in with like picking at how can we reduce your big idea.
Yeah, and that's we gotten better at that. But I think originally it was like you focus on like the budget side, and how can we make this budget work a lot, and like and I mainly just disregard the budget. I'm like, okay, but what about doing this like huge thing? I think it will look so good, and then just blow the budget entirely.
It's like the first scene has like 30 people in it. I'm just like, are you kidding me, dude? No, I mean, and that doesn't mean like we want to box anyone in. I personally don't feel boxed in with the restrictions of budget. I kind of take that as like another way to like another guideline for me to work with creatively. So that's just style of creative.
Well, and it works in any type of budget as well. Like even big movie budgets have restrictions. Like they still like have to pay a lot of money on other things, and then there's things that they probably can't do because it'll go over budget here and there.
Yeah,
so it's just.
But I mean, I think it's like my point is like, okay, so if I was given like a $5,000 budget for a commercial, and there were 4 guaranteed actors that needed to be in the ad, and the budget and they wanted 3 locations. So I would like be creative with like, instead of going to 3 different places, I would probably find a location that could facilitate all the looks in one to avoid relocating and potentially another shoot day. So there's ways to like, I think sometimes like those guidelines give you parameters, and you can kind of get creative with things in that perspective too. So it's like, oh, I can only have one space. Well, I'll make it work like this. Another thing is another way to work with a low budget is to plan to produce the content with what you have. So the gear, the light, everything you have internally in-house, use your tools to make the piece. Not you don't need to rely on rentals, etc. So I know some people when they do ads and stuff, they like to rent gear, and I think that's great. Like it's a great way to add an extra piece of another tool to the arsenal. But sometimes you can kind of get like sucked up in rentals, and they start taking away. So that's a line item. Like most production houses, including us, like you start building a foundation of like, hey, we own this gear because we use this gear all the time. Like I think a good example is like the trilogy of Canon zooms, the 16-35, 24-70, and the 70-200. And when I say Canon, I mean any lens manufacturer. That focal range in a full frame field of view essentially gives you all the coverage you really should need. And then obviously specialty items, like if you're filming wildlife or extreme sports, you might want to get more focal length, or if you want to go even crazier with focal length, you can go wider. But those are things that you own, and then owning those makes sense because you use those versus externally renting.
Yeah. Or if you're going to quote someone and, plan ahead on the rental and add the rental in the quote.
Yeah. I mean, you can. You can do that for
But
sure.
that's also like, for like specific things, like if they want to get the probe lens for like a shoe, they want like
Yeah.
specific look, then like, that's a different case of like, well, obviously most people don't need that like for a day-to-day case.
Yeah, and you can say like, "Hey, this is an overage. Like, this is
Mhm.
something that we can do, but you would need to facilitate the expense."
Yeah.
And so one thing too on that, which is a good idea to
Hmm.
bring up. So if you are like being utilized to outsource something, let's say like you're the one who's acquiring this or acquiring that.
Hmm.
Um, the reason why you would not just charge that fee of the rental is because you're spending time navigating how to get it. So, like, let's say like a client wants something very specific. Let's say they want a tent. Okay, so
Hmm.
you're gonna use your skills to find the tent based on your connections. You're gonna have to spend time calling around, getting quotes, and then finding the best option for the client. So that's why like when you see a line item and it's not like it's not just the cost.
Hmm.
It's hey, respectfully, I spent 3 hours of my day yesterday calling around and getting you these quotes, and I found you the best price. Then another thing that we do pretty much on everything is wearing multiple hats. So when you're working on low budgets, you take on multiple roles. So sometimes I'll produce, I'll direct, and I'll also be an assistant director. And then I know you.
I don't know. I'm just there for moral support.
No.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of recently in the past year, like more into like helping light, so that way Dan can focus more on the composition and then directing the client or maybe the client, maybe he's an actor. But yeah, usually on set I either help AD, I help with lighting, or just being grip and gaffer wherever I need, because where I really like come in and like tackle in is with editing in
Hmm.
every project. So like even if I'm like just there as a PA, I know that this my main job is to edit the whole project as a
Right.
whole.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for like the lead editor to be on site because
Hmm.
I know we've done ads where while you've stepped in and adapted to your hybrid of skills to do whatever you can,
Yeah.
there would always be like, hey, we're doing this ad or this like if we do an ad and we have two concepts in a day, you'll take the concept that's most elaborate,
Yeah.
you'll jump in and stop being whatever and come in and creatively advise because that's the way we're going to save money in the post. But at the same time, like if I have to go get my crew food and I have to pick up trash, I'm doing that
Yeah.
because I don't care in the long run. I don't care about the title. It's more like what are your skills and how many skills do you have? Because in the lower budget world, like you have to have multiple skills.
Hmm. So another example that's coming up that I'm very excited that like is another way to help you with tight budgets is it's VFX, it's virtual production. Obviously, virtual production is not cheap, so I like to see when there's like different ways that people are finding how to like lower the costs on it. Like for example, we did internal ad with our Pelican case to like show like the Pelican case traveling around the world because we're willing to go wherever the client needs to go, and we did it all in Unreal Engine. Like we had a real time setup that I put together, and it didn't really cost anything. I think the main thing that we had a green screen sheet that I got from Amazon for like 20-40 bucks, and the rest that I spent like maybe 30-40 bucks on like sand and like fake snow, and then everything else I pretty much had it for like already for editing. So I was able to create a live real time render of what the background will look like and put the Pelican case in real time in Unreal and with the background and see how it all fit together, change the lighting and make sure that it all looks great. And it turned out like a great ad. And that's, you can do that in a bigger scale with people, maybe interviewing someone. You don't have like the background they're looking for, like figure out like how to like put it together and like arrange and create like a little virtual production setup. It wasn't honestly that hard or like at all expensive. So that's another way that like I feel like we're leaning towards like cutting costs in production and like just doing everything like through virtual production.
Yeah, I mean, I think virtual production has like pros and cons. So I
Yeah.
think in like your mindset, I think it does make a lot of sense with your skills.
Hmm.
But I think like the challenges we face with it is like the cost to on a larger scale rent the space.
Yeah.
Um, That is a bigger factor. It's definitely more expensive. It requires a higher insurance
Hmm.
policy. And then the preparation that goes in beforehand is essentially like almost like its own round of post.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think like you really have to make sure it makes sense on the larger scale. Now the DV ad we did with the case, I think that was a great example of doing something quick, and not having to physically go to those places to make it work. I think we did that
Yeah.
for like $150. We bought sand, fake snow, and a few other things to make it like right on the money,
Yeah.
like to make it make sense, and it worked out great. But I still like, I think that it's going to be more affordable to do it in a larger scale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if anybody has a couple mil, we'll build a LED wall. We'll do it.
Yeah. But it's a lot. I mean, we've been around a shoot that had virtual production, and the pre-pro is it's extensive,
It's
and it's
expensive,
something
and you need a
doesn't.
person like not only like you need the VFX, but you also need a person that just knows how to work the LED wall and be there on set to like make sure everything runs.
Yeah,
So it requires a whole like set of like different technicians for it, but it's just such a cool like piece of tech that they're using for film now
I
and like
agree.
TV shows that
And commercials.
in
It makes a lot of
commercials.
sense. Like I always bring up like let's say you're doing an allergy commercial and you need to show a family eating outside in a pasture and a
Mhm.
farm and sunset, and then you need to also show a cornfield, an
Yeah,
ocean, and a mountain scene. These are all like you can knock out an entire day shoot and not have to physically have talent go on those locations, which would probably turn into like 2 to 3 days of production, multiple SAG actor day
yeah,
rates. I mean, it adds up to where if you have the budget, I think like honestly, like in my opinion, like right now, I think you need to be working on something that has like a budget of over 30,000 to make virtual production make sense on that scale.
yeah.
That's my opinion based on cost. Now you can do it and not make any money, but like from what we've seen, the studio space alone averages around like 8 grand for the day.
I think it was 8 to 10. I think they got a deal when it was like 8. I think you said.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
8 plus the rate of the
Oh, of the op. Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay. So yeah,
yeah. So I think like 8 to 10, yeah, is probably a fair range. So you're looking at $8 to $10. I don't even know they're probably requiring some sort of insurance requirement that you're going to have to get some sort of short-term production insurance add-on to your
yeah,
package for, and then obviously all the time spent in Unreal. But it's still really cool, and it's just like I think as tech evolves, it's going to be less and less and less to own a space like that,
hmm
and then I know for sure like we will. They're already making it more affordable, but there'll be a point where it'll make sense more
yeah.
for everyone.
That's our goal. At least that's my goal. I want the LED wall.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's really awesome. It's great tech. It makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah,
and that was a cool example of it too. Seeing with the
yeah,
Pelican ad.
yeah. That's the thing. Like, it's not. I guess it's not really fixing it in post. It's just like using our skills of post and VFX to, uh, be more cost effective in production.
Yeah, and I think sometimes like a producer will look at virtual production as this really could save a lot of time and effort,
Hmm.
especially the fact that they have so many like pre-made models now of worlds that you
Yeah.
can like start from, so you're not making a world from
Oh yeah,
scratch.
like Unreal Engine every month has a different like cart of like items that you can get for free, and a lot of times it's like a whole world, like a whole environment. I'm like, all right, cool. This
Yeah,
is $200 getting for free. Great,
for sure.
save them up.
But now, obviously, with Unreal Engine, there's a lot of control and there's a lot of planning that goes into making post production and production synchronized. But
Yeah,
obviously, there's times where post production is the only way to save the project, which
yeah.
gets us into the next topic, which I'm excited to hear your rants on is shit you've dealt with in post.
Good segue to my new favorite topic. Hopefully, I can do more than one of these. But yeah, shit I've dealt with in post. Listen, I gotta say, not humble bragging. I think I'm pretty good at VFX to the extent of like fixing something. I'm pretty good at like fixing stuff that didn't go well through production. So I have a list of random requests and experiences I've had editing through DV for other clients, and I want to go through them a few of them. So my favorite one is my favorite thing that I've ever experienced was Dan went on a shoot for a flavor reveal shoot where these actors would try out this new flavor, and they shot like the client kind of brought a lot of the stuff, like they brought the background, like the back wall. It was a white wall, and then like the table and everything, and then Dan brought his camera gear, so he shot that whole thing in front of a white wall. It looked good. We send it over to the client. I edited, send it over to the client, and then they go, I feel like the white wall it just doesn't pop as much. Could we, because like the flavor and everything is like more colorful. Could we change the color of the wall to like the colors of the flavors? And I'm just like, normally you could, but when it's white, it doesn't have any color. So for example, in After Effects, it doesn't register that I can switch white to a color. So what at least for my experience, because I've tried, so what I had to do was spend 10 straight hours, because it was a tight line, 10 straight hours rotoscoping each different actor.
Yeah.
For every movement, every frame, like rotoscoping them and tweaking it, because obviously rotoscope is still not perfect. It's gotten better, but it's still not perfect. And tweaking it so I can then add a different color per actor. And I spent 10 hours. Like I did a whole time lapse just for like maybe for BTS or something. And for the 10 hours, I think I started at like, I made it start like 9 a.m. and then ended at like 8 p.m. or something, and then finally send it over. And then I'm very excited. I'm proud. I got it done. And then I get a message. We get a message saying, I don't know. I don't like the colors. Can we just go back to the white?
Yeah.
And I just, what?
Yeah, I mean, and that sucked. I mean, I wasn't really surprised though that they were gonna do that. The thing is like I know that annoyed you because you're the one who did it. To me, it was like I knew it wasn't gonna look the way they wanted it to look in regards to the goal of the project, because that just needs to be lit. Like you need to shoot a psych wall to look like a certain thing. And everything they were wanting to do, the idea was a lot more easy to say than implement.
Yeah.
And we just you were able to implement it. But now to save us on that financially, I knew it was going to be a disaster. I had to look at it as like, they have to pay extra for this.
Yeah, they did pay for the extra.
Yeah, there's no way we're doing this. This was out of the brief. There's no way we're doing this without an upcharge.
Yeah.
So the upcharge was agreed upon. And I know that still sucked for you, but I mean, we do look at things like that as like, if they are going to ask for something ridiculous and it's not in the original scope, don't be afraid to ask for more for the service, because it's more service fees based on the you originally quoted for. Yeah. So, I mean, it sucked, but they did pay for it.
They did pay for it.
And it was rushed.
It was rushed. I was still livid. I was so petty and livid that I literally, I did a time lapse of the edit, and then I put it together to show to Dan, and then it's like can playing da 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 as I'm like editing, and then it cuts to like the GTA sound effect of when you're wasted, to like a screenshot of the message saying, oh, actually, I don't like the color. Can we go back to white? And I just send that to Dan just to like get the anger out. And I'm like, obviously we can't post this anywhere, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you.
I died a little bit inside, but it's okay. They still pay for the hours.
I mean, we have our own, like, there's always moments where like one department's going to be more impacted by something than the other. So I get it. And I understood the frustration. And that's one thing too. If you're not the lead editor, you're a producer more so like me. Like, you have to realize too, guys, like, this may not impact you, and you're getting paid to have the project completed, and you're making more money in the long run, but it's still impacting your team's morale, and your team's morale takes a second, especially when it's a smaller department. Like, butchering a creative skill set, hurting a creative, making them challenge and question their skill set because you're not happy with anything they do, takes a second to recover from. So really remember that too. Like, I think in this situation, like, we were trying to grow that account, so there's really no question, and they were paying for it. But I still, like, I wasn't just like, screw it, just get it done. I understood. I knew it sucked. It just had to get done, and that's the thing. It's like, if you work for a team and you believe in the company and you believe in the goal, you really have to just like take one for the team and take multiple ones for the team. And we
Yeah.
both do that.
And and that's the thing, like, obviously, like, I was annoyed and frustrated, but like, there's most clients don't know or understand like how much work this would take. So you can either explain it to them that it'll take a lot of work, or if you want to you want some brownie points, sometimes you're like, they're still gonna pay for it, I'll do it either way.
I feel like there's like, we definitely have had projects where we've like, they've asked for things and it's just like, we've had a client in the past like ask for something that was just like so just like insane, and I just like, sometimes you just like don't want to do it, or you're just like, look, like I can do this, but like this is just such an absurd request. You
Yeah.
can kind of like, you can kind of talk to the client and say like, hey, like this is a really big ask, and like doing this is going to take a lot of time. And sometimes you have to be a little bit more like, you have to humanize with them and be like, look, this is going to turn this project into this.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to spend way more than you thought. And I don't know if is it really worth doing that? And sometimes I'll be like, you know what, you're right. Don't worry about it. Or it's sometimes like anyone who's creative gets an idea, and then if you break it down and you discuss the logistics and the motives behind the idea, sometimes the idea doesn't hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right, So that's the thing too, is like, be transparent about it. Don't be like, don't say like, oh, this sucks, I'm not doing it. But explain, like, if you can do the service, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, breaking it down can really help you get out of the situation too. Mutually just agree.
That's the thing. You got to weigh the pros and cons. Is it worth it to get a little bit of those brownie points, or it's just like, be more realistic, like, hey, this is just not gonna work, or it's gonna be an overcharge, so like, make this work as it's like past the time, and just, it depends. So yeah, another shit I've dealt with is for example, once Dan discovered that I can do sky replacements for muscle and strength videos. Now I can hear him in the camera go, like, he's getting the shot, he's like, Raf's gonna replace that later because there's just no clouds. It's just gray. So I just do a Luma key and replace it. Honestly, it works pretty well. And ever since then, he's just like, oh, it'll be fine. He's like, I'm not even gonna try it like later in the day. I just know it's gonna. He can replace it, and it like adds a lot. It's just, but that one's a simple one. That one's an easy one.
I think it depends on that though. I think I was like really into that for a few shots, but lately we haven't been doing that. But yeah, you did a great job with that. And look, like, there was an example last year I thought was really cool. It really showed off your skills. So we had a interview e-commerce shoot for a food and bev brand, and we were shooting a product overview with the talent on camera talking directly. And the windows behind the talent were very they weren't tinted, and we were shooting at like 11 a.m. so the sun was blaring through them. And we just didn't have, it was a 2-man team, we were mobile, we just didn't have the light to expose those windows. And this is a great example of like when fixing in post can really intensify your budget. So what we did is we stopped down and exposed for the windows when the talent was done talking, and then you did a map replace, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I just masked the windows out and placed them over the original shot where the person's talking, where the windows are overexposed. That way everything looks like pretty and exposed, and it's not as distracting.
Because I'm like big into now, like, I think over the years creating and producing, I think one of the things that really I'm interested in when I shoot is exposure. And I really get peeved, and I notice highlights more than I think I used to. So like overexposed highlights, clipping, like that bothers me. And if I can't fix it, it really agitates me, especially with like interviews. I think like the fact that we can do the mask and like we can adjust, it really like intensifies the production value. Because like, what should we have done? Well, we should have had a larger G&E package. We should have had ND gel on the windows, but there was no way in hell we would have had time to do that. So that was a great example of something that you did in post, and it like really escalated and intensified the value of the production to me, and made it look very commercial and very high end.
And I mean, that's a good one. That's like, like that was one that we like planned on the shoot because I was there and all that, and that one was a valid one. Like another one that like happened a while ago that's a bit silly is Dan went to he went to New Jersey to shoot someone surfing, but I guess nature, the waves were not there. So instead, after the shoot was done and we came back, they sent us an iPhone footage of the person surfing on one of those wave machines. And they were supposed to be in the ocean. So they're like, hey, can you just like replace the background and just make it seem like he's in the ocean? And I'm like, what? And it's like 720p iPhone footage. So yeah, but I mean, luckily, like it was like I think it was static. I think it was pretty static. And the machine, I think most of the water was on the side, so like it was only the back towards the back that you can see like the actual machine and the background. So again, had to rotoscope the entire like shot of him like moving and surfing and like make it fit there, and it looked okay. It looked good enough for the project, but that's a one that one of those like crazy ones that it's more funny than like annoying, honestly.
Yeah, that was a pretty wild request. And I think anything with hair, water, rapid movement, it's like I'm learning now when the client does, because normally they'll ask me and then I relay the message to you because I'm more of like the liaison and I deal with that. And normally, I mean, I have experience to a degree with post, and especially with watching you and supervising how you do things.
Yeah,
I know the time, and I'm learning now, like anything to do with hair. Like I'm like we gotta fix this now. Like if something's not lit right on a green screen and a woman's hair is frizzy or something, like I'll stop and I'll say, I'm sorry, we gotta fix this because this will cause a nightmare of issues, even with the skills you have. And that's another thing, that's experience. You know, that's coming from every project that we do.
So a fun request that I get a lot is adding fart sounds to things, because Dan's humor is that he loves fart sounds and poop jokes.
Oh man!
Wasn't there one time that we,
dude,
in the shot, like the person was like saying happy birthday when they took a dookie, like they were acting, and then Dan put a sound effect of like someone like shitting, and it was too real that everybody thought it was real. No. And he was so proud.
Well, the problem is like that fart joke was so mixed properly. It was like the perfect, everything was perfect about it. It didn't feel like a joke. so yeah, I mean, my parents' fun story when I was like 8 or 9, I was going all the time and like just being annoying. My dad goes, I can't wait till you grow up and stop thinking that shit's funny. He said that to me. He was pissed. I was just like pushed it too far. And well, I mean, I'm 32 now, and it's even, if anything, it's even funnier now.
I mean, let's be honest. Fart jokes are never not gonna be funny, but like, like I think there was a shot once of someone in the beach and they fell, and they just fell, but it was a funny fall, and Dan's like, why don't we add a fart sound right there, just a quick one, just like. And we added it, and we just could not stop laughing because it's like as soon as they like face plant on the ground, it's like
yeah, I mean, people just don't think this is funny. I mean, there's so many people that like don't find fart jokes funny that like I'm learning to like really tone them in, because like I just can't get too far.
I mean, that's how you know if they're friend material. You like gotta test the waters and see if you can click.
It's like silent. You just go. You wait for a reaction.
Sir, this is a funeral.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a sound effect library that he has. It's called Farts. So I like dragged it over to my desktop, and I'm just like. No, I mean, the farts are really completely immature. But hey, to be honest, like that's like something that we found funny, and we definitely have had clients in the past that like really liked our sense of humor. Because DV, like our brand is very quirky. We do have like a fun comedic aspect to a lot of our humor, and I mean that's just our humor in general together. So I mean, yeah, the farts are funny to us, so we threw them in sometimes, and you know. We're not gonna sit here and say we put farts in everything, but we've put some farts in things and it really like hits hard. And then I think one of my favorites is okay. Do you mind if I like transition to this last one?
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things recently that you had to do or were asked to do was we made this video for it was multi-interview shoot with some athletes, and the goal was to show like a coherent vision and the struggles and the truths that go into being an athlete, and one goal in mind, no matter the path and the genre of athlete they are. So we had like 4 athletes talking on camera, and we had a beautifully lit background. Shout out to Grant for DPing that. One of my favorite shoots we've done together. And one of the talent had like a blemish on their forehead, and the shots were gorgeous. I mean, very motivational. And yeah, I mean, I said jokingly, you should take out the blemish. And you know, you gave me the look, the sass look,
the sass look that is like, you know, I gotta rotoscope and then track like the part of their skin throughout like 30 seconds straight.
I mean, here's the thing: if you don't want to be asked to do stuff like that, then you shouldn't demonstrate that you can do it.
I did say, you know, I can do it. I just need $300 to get Mocha Pro, and then Dan gave me the look of no.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great way of telling me to F off. So no, I mean
honestly, it would be worth it. Not gonna
I mean, so the funny thing is, we meet. So, Raf normally on our productions here, you're always on site. But like you said before, it's primarily post-production. So a lot of the fitness stuff, I mean, that's if I'm normally shooting the fitness content alone, or I bring someone with me that's local, versus flying you out. We've been doing some stuff this year and last year where you come to the fitness shoots. Yeah. But depending on the genre, it really just is a one-man band thing. You met the athlete, and they were excited to meet you because you've been editing so many things. And the first thing they said,
"Yo, bro, why didn't you take the pimple out of my face? What the heck?" That's my impression of.
Should have done it.
That's my impression of Sadiq.
Yeah. But no, that was a. Really
By the way, thank you for the follow.
Yeah.
It took 5 years.
Yeah. So.
I guess more like 3 or 4, but still.
Yeah, you did get followed by Sadiq. It's exciting.
Love you, Sadiq. But that one's a funny one. A lot of them are funny. There's some that are like, "Are you kidding me? You want me to do what?" But a lot of them are just funny. I mean, maybe next time I'll do it. You know, maybe.
Yeah, but the bottom line in this whole conversation, guys, is still to just remember that like you need to be upfront and transparent with the client, because they're not hiring you to do video because they know how to do video and they know how to do post-production. Like, they're hiring you because you're an expert in that field, and they don't have the bandwidth. While they may have a vision and a goal, they don't have the bandwidth to tap into this project, or they don't have a team member right now that does. So you're hired to do that. It's your responsibility. So it's your responsibility to go through their request and to make sure that they know what they're getting themselves into. If you don't, and you don't speak up, there's going to be hostility, and it's just not the right thing to do. And I will guarantee you, there's always exceptions, but if the person isn't willing to have the conversation, or you're afraid to have the conversation with the person, then there's a lot more problems than just this one post-production request that need to get resolved, because you should always be able to communicate and speak to your clients openly, because that's how good business is done.
Mm-hmm. That's how all relationships get done. You got to communicate.
For sure.
All right, so I think now we're going to transition to Film Miscellaneous to finish up.
So I'm watching the show now called Hijack. It's really awesome. I really enjoy it. And it's a really suspenseful moment in time turned into a multi-part episodic show. And it's a plane that's being hijacked, and we're on the flight, and each episode the hijack progresses, and it's 45 to 60 minutes. I think they're 60-minute runtime. But I mean, it's just amazing, man, how I think I like that show because I don't think it was cheap to make. It has great talent, and there's a lot that goes into it. But still, it's one room, a bunch of people, and so much suspense. Yeah. And it's showing now. It's like episodic TV is like so fascinating. How much you can get in an hour, and then like when you kind of combine it, it's like you're really looking at like a 7-8 hour movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so the whole season, the whole show is in the plane alone.
There's people in the plane that are the victims. They're the ones being hijacked, then there's the people on the ground that are dealing with the scenario, trying to figure out a way to, get this
Gotcha.
plane figured out, because they want money, or there's demands, and so there's
Yeah.
two worlds, but like the majority of the suspense is on the plane.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I think it's cool because obviously they shoot it's like a set on a
Yeah.
studio, and I'm sure it was just a really interesting thing to film. But the editing is really good, and the talent is really interesting because
Yeah.
the talent really sells it. Because fear, and you just get so
Mm-hmm.
nervous,
Yeah. Did you like a big part of it that you like was that like they were able to pull it off and with such a like limited space, because it was on the plane and then a little bit like outside, but it was mostly in the plane, which
Yeah, I think so. I think that what draws me to it is just like it's a restricted location, and it makes it very
Yeah.
intimate for story.
Mhm.
And I'm a big like dialogue guy, especially like if I ever do write narrative, I'm very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
And the dialogue and the reactions of the talent feels very genuine,
Mhm.
and you get like if I like last night I was watching it right in bed. We were
Mhm.
watching it before we went to sleep. I got like all like worked up.
Yeah.
So I get very like if certain shows, I get really nervous,
Mhm.
and I'll get the anxiety. I'll feel it.
Yeah.
Like especially if it's awkward, like if it's an awkward situation.
Oh my god, I feel it so bad.
Yeah, I can't like watch.
I need to look away.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like
cover my ears.
Yeah, so this show got me real worked up last night. I was like, my heart was racing because it was like so suspenseful, because
Yeah.
we're getting towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, it's just showing like, wow, look at where episodic has gone.
Yeah, you gotta watch Succession then. It's a lot of talking.
Yeah. We started it, so I'm definitely interested in keeping it going and getting through it.
Yeah, I just finished it like 2 days ago or yesterday. God damn, what am I gonna watch now?
I think it's so funny that you forgot the hard drive.
What hard drive?
So Raf has this project he's been working on
Oh.
for years. Like I swear I can say it. It's been at least a year.
It's been at least a year. It's just
It's a passion project.
it's a passion project, but it's not even that long. Because in the end of the day, it's gonna be like a minute. It's just more of a visual experience that I wanted to do by practicing to create environments from scratch, kind of thing, and then I just put myself in there so I can practice compositing myself in there. And like life happens. I think it started before I got married, so like I was focusing on the wedding, and then I'm like, okay, this is gonna take too long. Let me like start a smaller project so I can put something out and then come back. But but yeah, continue. What happened this week?
So he had I had some lenses that I needed to get sent over to someone else, and I was out of town, so I was like, hey, look, if this person comes in and wants to pick up these lenses, I need you to have them. So go ahead and take them. Bunch of PL RF mounts, and one nice 24-70 Mark II, which is a great lens for EF.
Yeah.
And so he has the lenses at his house, and when he picks me up from the airport, I'm like, oh yeah, you should just use the lenses and shoot the rest of your plates or your pickups that you needed for your project. And he was like, yeah, like that's great. Like, it was like perfect. And so, this week he had some time, and I saw you Tuesday, it's Friday now. And I asked how it goes today, expecting him to be like the project to basically be done. And he was like, oh, I left the hard drive with the footage here. So I haven't done anything. And it's just, I showed him this clip from the Twilight Zone where the guy is reading and he drops his glasses and he's like, there is time now.
It's time. It's not fair.
Yeah, it was.
That was literally me. And I think Tuesday night I realized that I left the hard drive because my wife was gonna go out of town with her mom and her sister for a couple of days. I'm like, okay, great. Now I can just focus on like finishing this, like the post of this thing I've been shooting. And then at night I'm like, oh, I left the hard drive at Dan's. He's leaving on a trip on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask him to upload like 60 gigs of raw.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
But I'm close. I'm close because I'm forcing myself to just say I'm done. I'm not adding anymore because I just want to keep adding to it because I'm like, this is not enough. I got to add more to it. But I'm just going to finish it. It's just part of being a creative.
Well, I mean, to a degree. But I think every creative should have a responsibility of finishing their work. So I remember when I was like a younger, I used to be a clay animator. I was pretty intense, like very enthusiastic about it. and I had so many projects I never finished. So that's why like that's a great example of like now like it's obviously your project, but I'm like kind of giving you a little push every time I see you
Yeah,
about it, and
that
it's sometimes important to set like, hey, we got to wrap this up, or we
yeah.
got to get
You
this
always
going.
need one, and I mean, technically, isn't that what like producers and AD do to the director? Like, we gotta finish this. We gotta just keep going.
I mean, if this was like a paid job, this would be a very serious problem like 9 months
That's the
ago.
problem with passion projects. You kind of don't have a deadline technically, so you gotta set yourself a deadline. And sometimes it's hard. I don't know. Because originally it was supposed to be just the one shot. I just wanted to like. I saw this forest that was a picture of this forest somewhere in Europe. Loved it. I recreated it in Unreal, and then I put myself in there. I'm like, this looks great, but I want to make like a short out of it. I don't want to like add a few more worlds. And then that just kept progressing, and like stopped for a bit for something else, didn't do it, and now it's been like a year.
Yeah, but I think this is a great example of like, hey, even though it's a passion project, we can still abide by some sort of timeline, because
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to get lost. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying like lock it in and like make this a miserable experience, but hey, if you're kind of lingering and something is taking a while, like setting these goals is really important, and it can really help you. Like, hey, I'm going to get this first looks done by this amount of time, and after that, I'm going to do this, and it at least put you accountable.
Yeah.
It's like we use Asana. And Asana is a task management system for us to delegate and receive jobs and things to do throughout the week. So when we have that and it's not checked off, it's like, hey, you didn't do this job and you need to check this off. And it'll notify you like, hey, you're late on this. And that's like a system of task management that I think it's a great way for me. Like I'm a very visual, like cross it off the list kind of guy. I'll do whatever it takes to get my task done, and if I don't get it done, it's definitely like it's on me. So yeah, I think it's just, I'm excited to see it, and I thought it was
I
funny.
just feel like I've been overhyping it for so long, so now I'm even more scared to show it because it's just been dragging.
No,
Um,
I'll stop bringing it up.
No, I'm just kidding.
If you
It
haven't-
helps me. I gotta finish it.
If you haven't finished the project by episode 3 and 4, I don't know. I'm gonna give you episode 4.
No, I think I'm giving myself until next week to finish it.
Okay. Well, if you
Because
haven't
I have
finished-
other ideas I want to do, and then I'm like, maybe I can add it to this one. No, I gotta finish this, and then I'll start another idea.
But see, this is another thing. So just like with producing, you always need to give yourself contingency. So I'm gonna say episode 4, your project has to be done.
Okay,
Wait,
we're on 2 right now.
yeah, episode 4. So I'm giving you an extra episode for life. Because you like book your life like to the 24th hour.
God, yeah.
So extra episode for packet. So by episode 4, we're going to talk about your project.
Okay, got it.
Oh my god. This is
No,
it.
no, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be chill, man. All right, and then the last topic, obviously, I'm not sure when this is gonna come out, but I mean, by now it's out. We're gonna talk about Barbenheimer. Do you know what that is, Dan?
Yeah.
What is it, Dan?
The Barbie movie.
And then what else?
I don't know.
Barbenheimer is Barbie and Oppenheimer. Do you know what the Oppenheimer movie?
I think you should just like take this one away because I don't understand what this is about.
Well, this is what I'm gonna go into. You're not gonna see either movie. I feel like Oppenheimer, you would be into it. It's
Oh my god.
It's a Christopher Nolan movie about the first atomic bomb.
Oh, with the guy. I like the guy's hair.
Yeah,
He's got a
I like the
good-
guy's hair. That's the thing
he
you
got
focus
the
on.
high hair. Yeah. it's-
Maybe you'll see it for the hair.
Oh well, it looks good. I mean, I've been thinking about it.
Well,
But it's
the-
a risky. It's like a very high
Yeah.
zero phase.
This is the thing that he focuses on.
It looks good.
Yeah,
It's a
it
good-looking
looks
fade.
good.
I don't know if I
He's
can
not
pull it
focusing
off.
about the grand scale of this epic moment. He's focusing on like the guy's hair is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I'm not a big movie guy. I've never been
It's-
a movie
yeah.
connoisseur. I'm an episodic guy. So
Yeah.
you like movies.
Yeah, I just like movies and then the whole meme around it, because the main meme about it is that it's 2 completely opposite movies releasing the same day. Like Barbie, it's Barbie, and then the first atomic bomb, and
Yeah.
that usually doesn't happen. That I think somebody posted about it. The last time that happened was 15 years ago with Mamma Mia and The Dark Knight. They
Okay.
released in the same day. So that's the meme that everybody's going crazy over. Is like, all right, so we're gonna see Oppenheimer first and then Barbie, or like vice versa, because they're just completely opposite movies and opposite experience, and that's kind of the meme from it.
Yeah, and I think that like, especially now, I've definitely seen a new like appreciation towards theater
Yeah.
like going to the theater and having that experience. Like I started getting into going back to the movies last
Yeah.
year with my wife when she was pregnant, because that was something we could go do that
Mhm.
wasn't like physical or whatever, and like physically taxing or
Mhm.
whatever. And I started watching movies, and then yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, it's really like it's an experience,
It's an
but I
experience.
mean, you could just like, you seem like the kind of, like, I bet you're the kind of guy that would, like, you would go see both.
Oh,
And
I'm
you would
gonna
be
see
fine.
both.
You'd be fine in the same day.
Yeah, I wanted to in the
Oh
same
my
day,
God,
but
dude.
my wife has no interest in Oppenheimer,
So
so
boring.
I'm gonna
I'll
watch.
go see that movie
Oh,
with you.
I mean, growing up, my dad used to take us to movie marathons. In a weekend, we would see 2 to 3 movies because he loved those, and that's why I got my
I just
love
get so
for
like,
movie.
I can't sit like that.
I just see it as like, because you can watch movies nowadays at home, you can stream and everything. But for example, you got the dog, you got like other tasks you got to think about while you're at the house. In the movie theater, that's it. You're there. You can't do anything else. Even if you want to do something else, you can. So like that's why I love going to movies, because you're forced to like just focus on the movie.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I love watching movies. I just got at AMC A-list again because I got kicked out for 6 months. So now I can see 3 movies a week for like $23. When the tickets are like $18 for one ticket.
Look at this guy validating expenses on this podcast.
It's a valid expense.
Keep going,
it's
baby.
a valid expense.
Keep going.
But
What
yeah,
else?
basically, I'm very excited about Barbenheimer. Obviously, I'm more excited about Barbie, but I'm gonna see both.
Yeah, no, I definitely, it's exciting to see everything that's coming out. And then one of the movies like I'm excited about, like I like seeing movies in 4D.
Oh yeah,
I'm big into the 4D, man. I really am. So I like 3D too.
Yeah.
I like 3D and 4D. I like that. To me is more like I mean,
Sorry. No, it was the seat. It was the seat. I didn't. It was the seat. I didn't.
wow. Fuck.
Wait. See, what's the seat?
you know, it's funny, like when that happens, like people are like, no, watch, I can do it.
I can recreate it.
Yeah. No, but I like 4D and 3D movies because to me, like that is something different, and I get the same enthusiasm that you get out of just a conventional movie. I get that out of the 2D or the 3D, 4D, like Dune.
Which is surprising because you're like very prone to motion sickness. So like the glasses usually give people like headaches. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the environment's very comfortable. It's very cool. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
fair.
I don't know, but I really like Dune a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think I like Dune more than you did.
Oh yeah.
No, I think it's great, and I think there's always going to be a life and a place for movies. And
Oh yeah.
I think streaming is dealing with a lot of struggles right now. And I think episodic is amazing, and I always am leaning towards episodic as a viewer, but I like that movies. I don't think movies will die.
No.
And I know you were very passionate about movies.
I love movies.
Yeah, well, it's like at school. It's like everyone, like a lot of people like say like don't go to film school if you just love movies. Like it's not really the reason to go to school.
Yeah, what's crazy? I've never been like a cinephile. Like I had friends that are like, "Hey, you want to watch this like movie from the '80s that like really redefined cinema?" And I'm like, "No, I'll watch Austin Powers."
Yeah, I have a couple friends that are very into movies, and I mean, I think it's just a thing, you know. It's like it's just not my thing. I also like, but I'm a weird guy. Like I sit and like I watch commercials. Like I'll watch commercials on YouTube. I'll watch a playlist of a brand's commercials.
Really?
Or I'll watch a compilation of like commercials about food in 1993, and I'll watch like an hour of commercials. I find them fascinating. I love the way they shot. I love the way they look. I love the way they sound. And that's how like a lot of like the ideas I get for ads come from commercials. Like I see like, because like in the 90s they went wild with the wide lens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
Capri Sun ads.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, I mean, it was like kid ads were shot at like 11 millimeters. Like a lot of shots were like always crazy wide, and like that's why I love wide angle lenses. Like it's so wacky looking.
It is. I love them.
Yeah, because we always say, like, one thing you said to me, you're like, yeah, you either like ultra wide or like crazy compressed. So it's like I don't like that 35 to 50. Yeah. Like I'm like, eh. And you're like, this is perfect. And I'm like, let's go ultra wide or let's go to a 200 and get that crazy compressed. So it's good to have that synergy.
God. Yeah, I think we cover all the bases. So I think that's it, guys. that was episode 2. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe for those on YouTube. And if you're on Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow and rate us 5 stars. There's no other, just 5 stars.
Yeah.
But we'll see you on the next one. Anything else, Dan?
No, that's it. Perfect.
All right. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.